Hello and welcome back. So what am I going to talk about today? Well, there's a lot of misconceptions about car finance. It really is staggering, I suppose. A lot of confusion because when people are buying cars on finance, it probably hasn't been explained to them properly how the finance works. So majority of people will either have HP, which is hire purchase, or PCP, personal contract purchase. Those are the two most popular financing methods. There's various other ones out there: PCH, contract hire, leasing, all very confusing terminology, but the main ones I'm going to talk about today is HP or PCP deal. Now the biggest misconception, and I know this because people keep asking me this so many times. So if you've taken, let's say, hire purchase out on that car for 5 years, it does not mean you're locked into that car for the next 5 years. That's number one. That is the biggest misconception. People think just because you've got a 5-year HP or a 4-year PCP or whatever, the biggest thing you've got to remember is you are not tied in for the full duration of that term. You can chop and change as many times as you like, of course, depending on your circumstances and the deposits and the settlements, so forth. But the biggest thing is you are not tied in. You can change anytime you like. So if circumstances change, if you've got a sporty coupe like that and you're enjoying the freedom of a nice sports coupe, all of a sudden you've got a family coming along and you want to buy a family car 2 years down the road and you're a 5-year HP deal, you can trade that car back in, ask the finance company for a settlement. They will tell you how much you owe on that vehicle. You may have negative equity, you might have some positive equity into the vehicle to roll onto the next vehicle. But the biggest thing is you can actually chop and change whenever you like. I get so many people asking me, I bought this car 3 years ago, I've got another 2 years to go. Well, you haven't got another 2 years to go. So if you decide you want to change your car, the first thing to do is talk to the finance company and ask them to get you the settlement. Not the balance outstanding, the settlement, which is the early termination amount that they will take for that vehicle. And that applies exactly the same with a PCP deal. So if you've got a 4-year PCP deal, 2 years down the road, circumstances change. You might have a family car and think all of a sudden, great, I can have a sports car now, family have outgrown it, whatever it may be. You can change during the term. The biggest difference you're going to have with a PCP is if you've only put a tiny deposit at the start of it, just tiny deposit, the chances are, more than likely, you're going to be in negative equity. Just the nature of how PCP works, because a lot of people tend to have a PCP deal if they want to put a small deposit and keep the monthly payments low, because with a PCP, I'll explain in a second to you how it works, you're going to have that balloon payment, so you're paying interest on that. So you might have negative equity, so it might make it a little bit difficult for you to change unless we can find some more cash to put into the deal. So basically with a PCP, how it works is you put a small deposit down. It could be £500, it could be £1,000. It all depends on how little you want to put down. So this then reduces your payments down, because on a PCP you have a balloon payment at the end. So it could be a 2-year, a 3-year, a 4-year PCP deal. And the finance company will decide what the residual value for that vehicle is going to be. So if, let's say it's a £30,000 car today, and in 3 years time the finance company will say we'll put a residual of £10,000 at the end of the 3-year term. So basically you're borrowing the £20,000 in between, and the £10,000 will be payable at the end of the term should you wish to keep the car. So you've got a bit more interest rate because obviously you've got that balloon payment which is being borrowed all the way during the term. But that's why your payments are lower, because you're not borrowing the full amount over the 3-year period. Sometimes I get confused trying to explain that on a video like this, but it is quite simple really. Sit down with any of you. If you want to know more details, I can run through individual examples, which might be a better way if you want to know any more, but happy to do that for you. So with a PCP, basically, let's say after 3 years, if you've got a 3-year PCP, as long as you've stuck to the criteria, which is if you're going to say you do 10,000 miles a year and you've done 30,000 miles and you kept the vehicle in a good condition, fully maintained, in 3 years time you have a decision to either pay the balloon payment, for example on that one, £10,000, and you keep the car. Alternatively, if you think, I don't want that car, I don't want the hassle, I just want to walk away, you can literally hand the keys back and walk away with no penalties. Alternatively, you could decide to trade the car in. So if you came back to me, for example, and let's say the car is worth £12,000, then you've got £2,000 equity onto the next deposit, onto the next car. Or even more better than that, let's say if you think, right, okay, I don't want to hand it back, but just come and sell me the car. So if you don't want the car, you can still come to me, get a valuation off me, balloon payment is 10,000, I think the car's worth 12, I give you £2,000 equity, you walk away. So it all depends on the car, on the circumstances and how it works, but that's basically the principle of it. Of course, with HP, you're borrowing the full amount on the term, so it could be 12, 24, 36, 48. I think one or two finance companies do even longer now if you wanted. But based at the end of the term, you're paying that final payment and you own the car outright. So I hope that helps a little bit with that, but the biggest thing is that you can chop and change in between if you wish. You are not tied. You are not tied. I'll repeat that. You are not tied to that agreement for the full duration. Hope it helps. If you want any help, you know I'm always here. 01782 822 700. Give me a call. Pop in, have a coffee, have a chat with me. I'll explain the ins and outs of any of these deals for you. Thanks for watching. Keep liking and sharing. Have a great day.